It's been over 5 years since Cyberpunk 2077 was announced, and we still know jack shit about the game. We do know one thing though, Cyberpunk 2077 will draw very heavily from its source material, which is the tabletop game Cyberpunk 2020, created by Mike Pondsmith. This is something that both Mike and CD Projekt Red have emphasized since they announced the game. So things like the setting of Night City, lore elements like mega corporations, evolved versions of weapons, gear, and cyberware, as well as things like stats, attributes, and classes, should all be familiar for those who have played Cyberpunk 2020. Obviously, with 2077 being a video game, not everything from 2020 will be translated directly, but they are doing the best they can to retain many of the core aspects in terms of aesthetics, story, presentation, and gameplay. Now, one thing that people have been wondering is if we can really expect all of the classes from Cyberpunk 2020 to be featured in 2077. It's an understandable concern considering how unusual some of the classes in 2020 are. You've got ones that are easy to picture, like solos, which are your assassins, bodyguards, killers, or soldiers. Cops, which are your, well, cops. Netrunners, your hackers and software specialists. Techies, your engineers, mechanics, and doctors. Corporates, your influential rich businessmen. Fixers, your dealmakers, smugglers, organizers, and information brokers. And nomads, your road warriors, biker gangs, and gypsies. These are all classes that you can kind of see working within a cyberpunk open world RPG. But then you've got the unusual classes like Rockerboys and Media, which are essentially rock stars and journalists respectively. I would say that Rockerboys are Cyberpunk 2020's equivalent of bards in something like Dungeons & Dragons. They specialize in influencing people through words, music, and charisma. In fact, their special ability in the tabletop allows them to sway, control, and charm large crowds of people through their music and reputation. So if you want to say, start a riot in the streets as a distraction for something, Rockerboys will get the job done. Then we have Medias, who are similar to Rockerboys in that they specialize in influencing people, but they do so in a much more low-key manner. They are less about inciting immediate short-term action, and more about using their journalistic credibility to relay and control information in a way that could have adverse, widespread, long-term effects. To put it simply, the main weapon of the Rockerboy class is charisma, while the main weapon of the Media class is information. I can definitely see how these classes might add some interesting dynamics to a tabletop game, but it's hard to imagine how they'll fit into a video game, which is why people are wondering, are classes like Rockerboys and Media going to be included? Well, turns out website Game Reactor asked that very same question to Cyberpunk 2020 creator Mike Pondsmith during a recent interview, and here is the response he provided.
One thing I find really interesting about the game is the classes. There are rock stars, the journalist class, executive class. Can we really expect that to be in the game? Or would you like...
Yes, you can. They're all going to be there, but I can't tell you more than you're going to find some surprises about how we've done it. And I think you're really going to like it. There's a lot of subtlety going on there. And Adam and I spent literally, like I said, a whole week messing with some of the ways of implementing that so you get the most feel for your character.
So it looks like the answer is a resounding yes. Every class from the tabletop will make it into the video game, no matter how unusual they may seem. Now, Mike did tease some surprises on how they managed to implement classes like Rockerboy and Media into Cyberpunk 2077. This probably means that we shouldn't expect a direct translation from how they work in 2020. I'm sure these are two classes that they had to adjust for a video game environment, and it should be interesting to see how they managed to do so. For now though, all we can do is sit and wait and take comfort in the knowledge that they are keeping their promise of retaining as much of the core Cyberpunk 2020 experience as possible for 2077. So yeah, that's it for this news update. Thank you for tuning in. Let us know in the comments below how you think classes like Media and Rockerboy will be implemented into the game. Also, if you're looking forward to more Cyberpunk 2077 content, consider supporting me on Patreon to help this community remain independent from third-party sponsorship and corporate interference. And to be further updated on all things Cyberpunk, stay tuned right here on Young Yeah. I'll see you guys next time. Young out!